everyone. A very warm welcome to all of you. Thank you so much for taking time out and joining us for this session today. We hope you enjoy the session and make the most out of it. This is your host, Kashan from India. So, here we're celebrating Diwali. So, here's wishing you all a very happy and prosperous Diwali. Today, we will be discussing Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations member states in 2015 as a universal call for action to transform our world by 2030. By taking efforts towards eradicating poverty, protecting the planet, and promoting peace and prosperity among the masses. Our aim is to draw attention towards creating awareness of the efforts being taken worldwide to achieve these goals and recognize change makers who are driving change in their local and global communities. Before we begin, we would like to receive a few responses from you. So we have a few questions. Can I please get the Mendy slides? So you can pick your phone and log on to menti.com and enter the code displayed on the screen. The 7-digit code is 4661058. Please log on to menti.com and register the code displayed on the screen. So the first question for you we have is, where are you joining us from? And we can wait for about a minute to receive the responses. So we have Pune, we have Bhuj, and we can wait for some more responses. We have Chennai, we have India. So, yeah, maybe we can wait for about 10 more seconds. We have Thailand, wow, we have Malaysia, we have USA, we have Singapore. It's interesting. Lots of diverse audience today. We have Bangalore. Maybe we can wait for a few more responses and proceed forward. So let's go on to the next question, please. So the next question we have for you is, what is the purpose of education according to you? You can log on to menti.com and register using the code. The code is 4661058. We just wait for a minute and then we proceed. To impart knowledge beyond available literature. Wow, that's interesting. Learn something new each time. That's wonderful. We can wait for 10 more seconds and proceed. Give everyone an opportunity to achieve their dreams. Wow, that's so sweet. Guide people in a way that their best selves can unfold. Wow, that's interesting. So, I think we can proceed now. And so last session, we discussed the first two goals on no poverty and zero hunger. This week, we will be discussing the next two goals, which are centered around good health and well-being and quality education, respectively. We have 4 speakers on board for our panel discussion today. They will be sharing their insightful experiences and guide us as to how we can achieve these goals. Our first speaker for today is Dr. Viveha Priyan. Dr. Viveha Priyan is a medical doctor working in the Department of Forensic Medicine at the Penang General Hospital in Malaysia. He believes that a vital quality of a doctor is to have an empathetic mind to be able to treat the root cause of the problem and give relief to the patient. His secret advice for a healthy lifestyle is by consuming the right diet and having a good exercise regime. Dr. Viveha believes that world change first begins within you. Next, we have Ms. Kiranjeet Kaur, who recently completed her Bachelor of Science Psychology from International Medical University, Malaysia, and is currently interning under a clinical psychologist. Besides her education, Kiran has a deep-seated passion towards using creative platform to spread awareness on pressing mental health issues that are otherwise considered a taboo within our society. Her advocacy has led her to become a part of the international youth organization called Global Changemakers. Kiran aspires to be campaigning for the importance of mental health to be given the same priority as physical health within our society. Another enthusiastic panelist for today is Ms. Yamali Prasad. Yamali is a business major and the founder of SIRI, a foundation that encourages young people across the globe to promote education amongst communities, focusing on women empowerment. Currently, SIRI is operating in 10 countries, 30 plus communities, and 6,500 plus lives across the world. Saving the best for the last, we have Ms. Nirmala Lakshmipati. Ms. Nirmala has 37 years experience in the field of education. She has been a principal for 20 years and headed curriculum development for 4 years. Her skills include planning and monitoring infrastructural facilities. She is also the founding principal of two reputed schools, Lalaji Memorial Omega International School and Heartfulness Learning Center. So, everyone, here we have our four esteemed panelists. We hope you're as excited as we are to learn something new. Welcome, everybody. So, let's begin. Let's begin with Kiran. Hi, Kiran. Please start by introducing yourself and share with us more about what work you do.
Hello, thank you for that introduction, Kashin. So, as you mentioned, I just completed my bachelor's in psychology. And within the past couple of years, my work has mainly revolved around advocacy and awareness raising as compared to problem solving. So I founded a project at the end of last year. It's called Colors of Thoughts, and it is a project dedicated towards improving the mental well-being of the refugee community in Malaysia through the use of art. So, what my team and I do is we provide them with the tools that they need so that they can use art to engage in creative self expression and self exploration. And besides that, we also post artwork related to mental health issues and social issues and also human rights issues on a monthly basis so that we can raise awareness about what these issues are and how and when to reach out for help. So the kind of topics that we've covered in the past is domestic violence, child sexual abuse, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So all of this is done is to basically bring awareness to the fact that traumatic issues that may sometimes cause physical scars, they can leave mental scars as well. And why I chose to use art is because, for example, domestic violence or bipolar disorder, these are not some stuffs that is very easily talked about. You know, it's difficult conversations. It's things that we cannot really use words to express how we're feeling or what we're going through to another person, especially if they've not been through the same experience, right? So imagine showing them a painting or a picture that can explain this through the use of different colors, or imagine seeing a body covered with bruises to kind of symbolize the pain that a person is feeling. I've noticed that this usually gets through to people more as compared to going up to them and saying, hey, I know you don't see scars on my body right now, but I'm hurt. So it sort of acts like a conversation starter for difficult conversations. And back then, when I first started using art, I didn't know if it would work. I didn't know if it was going to make a difference, but I decided to test the waters, and people were very receptive towards it. So I continued using it to raise more awareness on the different kinds of issues that people have to deal with.
That's so interesting. I mean, I agree with you that there's some things that you really can't explain in words. So yeah, that's a wonderful initiative. So next, I would like to talk to Mr. Vivehan. So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us more about what you do?
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Kashin. A warm welcome to all the audience. Thanks to all the coordinators for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to speak about good health and well-being, which is one of the main component of sustainable development goals by the WHO. Well, I'm Dr. Vivepriyan, like how you mentioned, working as a medical officer in Department of Forensic Medicine in Penang General Hospital, Malaysia. Okay, first I did a medical school in Moscow, graduated from Russian State Medical University, graduated in year 2017. So before coming to forensic medicine, I previously was in emergency department, whereby I dealt with live patient, where we provide them an immediate care for their health issues. It's the emergency department that makes me realize that it's just a thin line that separates between life and death. Okay, so when I come to forensic medicine, so what I do currently is we carry out autopsies, or we call it post-mortem, to a deceased person, or you can call it a body. Okay, and we find out the cause of death. Okay, if you ask me, dealing with this live patient and diseased person is a total different entity. So what we do here is, of course, when I carry out autopsy, what we see the disease from the inside. Okay, we open up the brain, we look at the brain from the inside, we open up the thoracic cavity, we look at the heart, the lungs from the inside. Okay, same goes to your abdominal cavity, all your liver, spleen, and all the other major organs from the inside. If you ask me, what do I get it from here? Okay, of course, for the diseased person, I forgot to mention, when doing this autopsy, we do this with respect. We respect the body. Okay. If you ask me what I get from this autopsy is, of course, for that diseased person, I'm not going to help it. Okay, I'm not going to help for the diseased person. The diseased person already have passed away, and whatever cause of death you find, you, like myself, I cannot help the diseased person, but I can be helping the relation or the relatives that's related to that diseased person. How? That's how, regarding that how part, we'll talk further in our second section, right?
That's really interesting to know about your experience as a doctor. So yes, looking forward to the second section. We would
Yeah.
like to hear now from Yamli. Who tell us about yourself and your work.
Well, thank you so much for giving such an elaborate description of what I do and what my foundation does. It's really nice of you to include the impact that we've made. Where I come from is basically is a line of farmers from a small city it's a small town in Tamil Nadu. It's called Rameshwaram. So it was my grandfather who was so interested in reading books, and till now he even tells me that he reminds me that where they come from. So it was a time during the British colonial period where whatever books that he would find them, and then he would read them under the lampshades of the night lights that were there in the town. So in like to pursue his more interest, but then he got married and he wanted his children to study, and that is how he moved out of town. He took a job in the Indian Railways, and then he wanted his children to go on further to have education, well, to take on his wishes forward. And the second generation went on to college, but my mom, before she graduated, she got herself a job in the central government, so she went on to pursue that. And today here I am, a third generation, a line of farmers coming down the line. And education was basically why my work focuses on education or in reducing inequalities as a main SDG, is because it gave me a platform to go beyond the realms of books that we still read and that we still do. It was this entire platform that gave me a start, that made me believe that people can invest in me. So that is where my foundation comes into place. So global change makers happened because I was aware, or that gave me a platform to go forward and to share my story. And after sharing my story is where I started my foundation. So right now we focus on addressing that gap in inequality that there is between education and like different schools, like you do have CBSE and SSC, and you do have the IB syllabus. There is a lot of gap in that each of these syllabus cover, and also the gap that you find in a lot of marginalized societies that we go through. In the same way, and then you do have women empowerment, but at the same time, when you look at reducing inequalities, as I'm a business major and I do come from a line of, I've been working for the past 4 years, there's a huge gap in the entrepreneurial positions or the executive positions held by women in these places, or in any corporate firm in India or elsewhere in the world. And the reason has always been opportunity, or lack of opportunity, or lack of societal pressure. So, presence of societal pressure. So that is where my foundation comes into play, to bring in both the from my humble beginnings, from where I've come from, and to take on where I want to go further. So where series focuses on education and women empowerment.
It was very inspiring to, listen to your story and, how you actually began and, how things are working. So it's really inspiring to listen to your story. Thank you so much for sharing. So now we would like to hear from Miss Nirmala. Could you please tell us about yourself and the
Yeah,
work you do?
yeah. Good evening, everybody. I think I'm with the youth and I'm feeling very young about it. Yeah. And for 37 years of my life, after I completed my postgraduate in home science with educational BEd training, I got into schools. And I think I've met thousands of children, right from 2.5 years to 18 years. And I think they have been my mentors. I've learned a lot from them. I belong to the baby boomers group because our generation, I was born before 1965, and I was dealing with children, generation Y, Z now, and I think it's going to be alpha later on. And there were a lot of things I had to learn. I had to uncondition myself to understand what is it these youngsters want. And of course, a lot of those who are under me at Omega, in the Muta school where I initially was, and also in Heartfulness Learning Center, they always felt I was a strict disciplinarian, but they also knew that I loved them so much. And 13 years I was a faculty in the first school where I worked. It is in Chennai. It's a CBSE school. And I taught home science and science there. And then later on, I moved to Omega. The third global guide, Chariji, wanted me to set up a school there. And it was a lot of learning. We set up a CBSE school. Then we went in for an IB school, an IGCSE. And we also have an NIOS later on after I left the school. 10 years I was there, and then I had to retire. And for about 4 or 5 years, I must say I was freaking out. That's what the term you people use, I think. I went all over India because by then the Heartfulness Education Trust was set, and we had to go around conducting programs for teachers on the heartfulness way of relaxation and meditation, and also the heartfulness approach to teaching, heartfulness communication, heartfulness inspired living. So with the team, we set up a lot of training programs, built up the curriculum to be delivered there. And I think I visited the maximum number of ashrams in India because of this traveling. We also went to Leh Ladakh. Oh, that was wonderful for me. And there were about 100 teachers from 80 different schools who participated in the Inspire program. And they were so motivated and inspired to bring in the heartfulness meditation technique and also teach relaxation to their students. We went to Assam, Dulyaganj, I don't know, so many places which I only read in geography, never ever had that time to visit, but I learned a lot. And 1 year in between, last year I had to go back to setting up the Heartfulness Learning Center, but back again into S-Connect programs. And we also built up the curriculum for the HELP program for students of 10, 11, and 12. And that is going great guns all over. Nearly 5 lakh students in Andhra Pradesh were covered by this program. And we are still going strong. I had to learn a lot of technology because I belong, as I told you, to the baby boomers generation, but I managed to learn. And now I'm doing a lot of online training programs for mostly for teachers in Andhra Pradesh and also the rest of the country. And I thank the youth and my student for inviting me for this program, feeling much younger, rejuvenated, energized, refreshed to be with you and share my experiences. Thank you all.
It was wonderful to hear from you. And I believe teachers, they never grow up because they interact with so many kids, and, it's just not possible for them to, really grow up. So,
Yes.
and the relationship between a teacher and a student is something really special.
Thank you.
So, yes. So, my first question is to you, Kiran. What drove you to begin creating a change in your community?
Thank you for that question, Kashin. So, for me, it didn't really start out with witnessing things happen in real life, but instead, I read a book. I came across a book when I was 16 years old. And this book is fictional, so it's made up, but the idea behind the book was based on a true story. So, this book is called 15 Lanes, and it is about a young girl who grew up in the red light district of Mumbai, India. So she grew up in a brothel, and she had to witness and experience a lot of horrible things on a daily basis, right? She witnessed people being assaulted, she witnessed her best friend being shot right in front of her, and also having to deal with possibly being forced into the industry because she was born there. So it's safe to say that she had a pretty traumatic upbringing. And the whole time that I was reading that book, all I could think about was, how is this girl still surviving? How is she so resilient? What was going through her mind and how is she feeling? And then all I wanted to do was to just jump into the book and be with her. I didn't want to solve her problems or anything because I didn't know how, but I just wanted to be there for her because she was alone, right? And at that age, I also remember thinking and being really grateful that I had a good life and I was sheltered from these kinds of issues, much less, experience this kind of issues. But I was also in awe of the resilience that this girl showed. So it was after that book that I realized that these kinds of issues, they are real. These things do happen. It happens on a daily basis for some people across the world, and it affects them not only physically but mentally as well, right? And I also realized if it took me 16 years to understand what trauma is or what mental health is, then I'm probably not the only one. There's probably a lot of people out there who also aren't aware of this kind of issues and the consequences that it brings. So after that, I went on a research rampage. I researched about all kinds of issues across the world, social issues, human rights issues, and what we can do to help them. And then after that, I decided, since now I already knew what these issues are, I'm going to do whatever I can to help other people understand them as well. And then when I get a chance, I want to be there for individuals who go through this kind of issues and help them heal in person. And what I also realized, now after some time being in this field of psychology, is that when we talk about trauma or issues that are usually stigmatized in society, our first instinct is to run away from them, because why would we want to associate with trauma or like negativity and stuff, right? But change makers, advocates, activists, professionals in the helping field, our first instinct is to run towards them and help because we have the ability to help. So I find that so noble, and that honestly motivates me every single day to continue doing what I'm doing. And yeah, that's how it all started for me.
I mean, what you're doing is something so remarkable. Only a person who's in that state can really appreciate the help that they're getting. So that's really a great, great, great thing that you're doing. Thank you so much. And my next question to you is: So the pandemic is much more than a health crisis. It provides a watershed moment for health emergency preparedness, but there's also worry about people's mental health. What do you think we can do, to respond to this so that we're better prepared for our friends and our family, and not to forget ourselves?
Right. Okay. Sorry if you heard that. There's fireworks going on in the back. So it is true that the pandemic is much more than a physical health crisis. And in terms of mental health, for different groups of people, we're dealing with different kinds of losses and different kinds of changes. So, for example, when it comes to students or teenagers, we could be dealing with change in travel plans or change in educational plans or educational curriculum, which is a huge change, right? And for parents, they could have be dealing with having to stay at home and work from home and then taking care of their kids at the same time, and not forgetting our frontliners. They're constantly on the edge of their feet. They're constantly moving. Even if they want to take a break, they can't really do so. So having to deal with all these changes in such a short amount of time, and the lack of physical support around us, it's no wonder that our mental health is being affected. So in terms of response, globally to this mental health crisis, the World Health Organization, WHO, actually came up with this special initiative. And this was launched before the pandemic, but I think it couldn't have come at a better timing. So it's called the Universal Mental Health Coverage. And what this aims to do is it aims to provide better access to quality and affordable mental health services. And they aim to provide this to at least 100 million people by the end of 2023. And this is a huge milestone for all of us because mental health is finally being flagged as a priority, right? And now more than ever after the pandemic, more attention is being brought to mental health because we're finally seeing the effects of anxiety and depression and isolation. So that is what is being done globally. But now to scale down on an individual level, how we can play our part in communities, I would say the first thing is to try to rebuild that human connection that we may have lost amidst the pandemic. So it can be as simple as checking in on your friends and family, saying, hey, how was your day? It doesn't have to be a lengthy conversation. Something as simple as that still shows that you are present in their lives. And also, so I've seen a lot of different friend groups doing this where they have virtual coffee sessions. So they go on video calls with their friends or family. They have a cup of coffee or they have a beverage. So they're in presence of somebody that they love and trust, right? And then you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You can vent about your day, or you can talk about something else. When it comes to virtual meetups like this, it really is up to you what the topic of discussion is. For some people, they need that space to vent. And for some people, that they need that space as a distraction. So they don't want to think about what they're going through that day. They just want to talk about something else. And for frontliners, people who are facing the pandemic head on, as friends and families, it can be difficult to see them going through the challenges that they go through. But I do believe that there are support groups being established or have been established across multiple cities in the world. So as friends and family, I think our job is to just encourage them to attend the support groups if we see that they need that extra bit of support. And to wrap up, I've seen a lot of this going around in social media, and I'm going to bring it up because I think it's really helpful. So what's been circulating around recently is tips and tricks on how you can create your own emotional care kit or your own mental health emergency kit. So what this is, it's basically like a portable bag or a box, anything that you can bring with you out of the house. And you fill that bag with things that make you feel safe. So for example, for children, it could be a stuffed animal or a toy. Or for us, it could be essential oils if scents make you feel calm. So you could fill that in that bag. And you could also bring a notebook. And in the notebook, you fill it with a list of people that you can call or trust when you feel down, any emergency contacts in case you have like an anxiety attack while you're outside. And you can also bring a playlist of songs that can uplift your mood, pictures of friends and families, or notes from friends and families. And the purpose of this is it's portable, so you can carry it with you outside. Let's say you have to go outside because you have to go to the grocery store to get something, and the pandemic is still circulating around. It can be very anxiety provoking for people because we don't know who has the virus and who does not, right? So anytime you feel like you're going to have an anxiety attack, or you feel like you feel really down, just take the bag out and then go through its contents, and maybe that can help. Yeah, that's some of the things that I would recommend.
It was so amazing to listen to the new ideas that are popping up, and it's wonderful to know. And I believe it's just that you got to know that there's someone by your side, and I guess everything is just sorted. So yes, thank you so much for sharing your wonderful insights. My next question is to Dr. Vivek Priyan. What are the values that drive your effort in actions that you take to bring a difference to the world? And how have they helped shape the work you do?
Okay, thank you, Kashin. Okay, first thing I would like to say that about death. Okay, see, I always have a curiosity in the back of my mind: how can people die, and how much a body has to go through before a life ends? Okay, like how I mentioned, my job scope, I look at the disease from the inside. Okay, even though it's too late for the diseased person, but the findings that I find through my postmortem, I can educate other family members on what could have been done to prevent a death causing this, a death causing disease. Okay, the point to note that all of us think that healthy lifestyle is very important. I repeat, we think that it's very, 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 very important. But what's more important is, when do we decide to start healthy lifestyle? That is very important. When do we, at what age do we start to decide to start this healthy lifestyle? Okay, being a younger generation can actually do more than what we are capable of. Okay, everything, like how I say, it starts from you. Okay, so there are a few cases I've done. Let me share some of my cases that I've done autopsy on. Okay, so I've carried on autopsy on a 61 years old male. Okay, who had diabetes, hypertension, and high cholesterol. This particular individual, okay, he actually, he refused to take any medication. Okay, even though he knows that he has all these underlying comorbids. Okay, he refused to take any of this medication, and he refused not to go to any medical follow-up when he already had a full-blown disease in himself. Okay, instead he opted for a healthy lifestyle. Okay, not taking medication, but he opted for healthy lifestyle by changing his diet and his lifestyle. Okay, so what happened to this person is, I really appreciate his effort to start going to gym and start working out in gym. Okay, he enrolled to the gym one day. I mean, on that particular day. On the next day, he went to the gym, and what happened when he started running on a treadmill? He collapsed. He just collapsed. Immediately, he collapsed. Okay. So the decision he took at the wrong age has led him to his death. Okay, my autopsy finding was, I found out that all his major vessels, there's three major vessels that supplies your heart. Okay, all the three major vessels is completely blocked. Okay, for a man at 61 years old, when you know you have all this kind of underlying disease, it's better for you to start with the medication, go for a proper follow-up, and you start exercising gradually. You cannot simply say that, okay, I'm not going to take any medication, I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to reduce all whatever underlying disease I have through exercise. No, it's a very wrong method to follow, actually. Okay, so end up what happened, he had a massive attack. Okay, of course, looking at the autopsy finding, I cannot be telling the diseased person you had a massive attack and I can't help you, but I can help those who are actually around him, his wife, his children's, and let's say grandchildren's. Everyone I can help, saying that, if you have some problems in your body, you need to find it out in a very earlier stage, okay, to prevent it. Of course, prevention is the cure. You cannot straight away go for a cure to solve all the problems you have. Okay. So educating people is not only the responsible of a health personnel, it's the own initiative of every individual that must know how to take care of themselves. Okay. There's another case. It was a quite sad case actually. It was a 4-year-old 1-month kid. Okay, has been vomiting about. He had a profuse vomiting 5 hours continuously for the past 5 hours. A profuse vomiting, and end up early in the morning. The parents found out he has passed away. Okay, so see here, just now was 61 years old man. That's a total different entity, and now it's a young kid. As a parents, okay, as a parents, when you found out your child is vomiting for once, a 4-year-old kid vomiting for once, it's not normal. But if it's continuously vomiting for the past 5 hours, it's definitely not normal. They should have brought the child to a healthcare and proceed with the proper checkup and everything. Okay. When I did an autopsy on this kid, we found out the whole small intestine of this kid has been twisted. It's a genetic issue this kid has been having. Okay. Nobody realized that he has this kind of issue, but things can be prevented. My autopsy findings, okay, end up it comes to either preventable or non-preventable. These are the things that I'm finding out. If it's preventable, definitely it's going to be a very good lesson, and it's going to be a very good what do you call a preventive measures for the family members surrounding them. Okay, so I wouldn't say it's common sense. It's the self-realization that everyone needs to have it. That's why I say everything starts from you. You should know it. All this little common sense, it comes within you, and you should start questioning yourself. Why is it like that? Why is it like this? You need to find out. Okay. So, like how I said, I see disease from the inside, but how I help others is through this. This is the only way I can educate, because every time before we do an autopsy, we have to talk to the family members. Okay, and after autopsy, we still have to talk to the family members and tell them what is the autopsy finding, and we advise them what can be done for themselves for the future. Okay, so as for your
It's
question, yeah,
it's very surprising to hear about so diverse things that are happening around. I have another question for you.
yeah.
So currently, the world is facing a global health crisis unlike any other. So COVID-19 is spreading human suffering, destabilizing the global economy, upending the lives of billions of people around the globe. So, more efforts need to be taken to fully eradicate a wide range of diseases and address many different persistent and emerging health issues. In your opinion, as a doctor, what can be done to help save the lives of millions?
Okay, you see, when this whole pandemic thing started in Malaysia, I remember it was early March. I was in emergency department. Okay, at that moment, the whole emergency department became the frontliners. We don't have specific people who's frontliners and the others are not frontliners. The whole emergency department became the frontliners. Okay, at that moment, all the medical team knows that, like, I mean, not only the medical team, everyone knows that prevention is better than cure, and we need to find some ways to break the chain. Okay, infected person passing the infection to another person, it goes on, so it forms a chain. We need to find something that breaks the chain. So that's when the whole WHO, World Health Organization, and other health ministries in every country came up to this compliance to strict SOPs, standard operating procedures. Okay, very simple, very simple. You just have to follow it. I mean, everyone, like how I said, it starts from you. It's you and you and you, and myself as well. Okay, wearing a mask, wearing a mask. Okay, we know a lot of people wearing mask based on their comfort. Okay, when you wear a mask, number one, you need to close your nose and your mouth, completely covered your chin. It should be completely covered. It's not that you're exposing your nose or exposing your mouth. Number one, because another thing I would like to remind all these youngsters mainly, we are prone to the infection of this COVID-19. Okay, the thing is, we might not be symptomatic, we can be the carriers. Okay, this particular virus won't affect young people, But when you become the carrier, you tend to spread this around everyone among or around yourselves. Okay, it can be your parents, can be your siblings, can be your friends. So a cycle keeps going on. Okay, by wearing these three simple steps that I would like to emphasize: wearing mask, your routine hand hygiene. Okay, either using hand sanitizers or you are washing your hands with soaps. Okay, and as well as your social distancing, or in other term, it is called physical distancing. Okay, you avoid going to crowded places. Uh, these three steps will actually break that chain. Okay, you see, all these frontliners, when I personally wear that personal protective equipment, that time when it was early March, we have to wear all these three plastic layers. I mean, we have to be inside these plastic layers, wearing the N95 mask and everything. It's very suffocating. To be honest, it's very, 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 very suffocating. Okay, and to stand there, we have our own shift over there. We have to be there for 12 hours, 8 hours. At times, when there's less staff, we need to cover for them, which is more than 12 hours. And the moment you take out your PPE, we call it PPE, the personal protective equipment. When you take it out, you can see the whole sweat and your mask line on your face. Okay, that is really tiring. But what can a medical personnel do? We can only, like, okay, let's say you're symptomatic, you come to us, we can treat you. But depending on the person as well. Okay, if the person is old, there's a lot of comorbid under them. It's just a question whether they're going to survive or they're not going to survive. But I believe all the youngsters out there and everyone out there is a frontliner on their own. You really have to comply to the strict SOPs to break the chain. Okay. You might think that I'm not infected, I don't have any infection, I don't have any symptoms, I'm immune to COVID-19, but no, you can be a carrier and you are the cause of this infection. Okay. Let's remind again, things starts from you, the change starts from you. Comply to the SOP. Three simple things: your mask, your hand hygiene, as well as your social distancing. I don't have anything other than this. Something which I call as a magic.
No, I guess these are the basics that can actually lead to magic. We being safe can be the biggest magic in these times.
Yes, but the thing
So
is,
these are
people don't understand this. Simple steps. I've been seeing a lot of people outside. All the way they wear their masks is for the name of wearing masks, but the mask is under their chin. So that's why all the authorities have come up to a point in Malaysia that, okay, we need to find these people. We need to issue them a summon, okay, so that they don't repeat this, and be a reminder for them. This is something not a joke to take. I really hope everyone comply to SOP, and together we can break the chain.
hopefully things will be fine and everything will come back to normal. So,
Yep.
with that note, I have another question for Ms. Nirmala. Uh, what role do you think an individual has to bring sustainable change to our society and the world at large?
Okay, a society is made up of individuals. Therefore, definitely, individuals have to play a great role in bringing about sustainability in the communities. I still remember in the beginning of the 21st century, there was so much talk about this, and slowly it seemed to subside. I still remember the 6 R's: recycle, reuse, refuse, reduce. Do you all remember that? Nobody ever talks about it now. I was wondering when I heard about the Sustainable Development Goals once again, 2015, they started, and I realized this is the base that each individual needs to follow. I still remember when we went to Gujarat for one of the programs, maybe about 10 years back, and we had chapatis in the night, and the next day morning I found the chapatis became kakras, and after that again the next day some chapatis were left. They made something out of it. Like in South India, idlis are left, we make idli upma out of it. Okay, this is nothing but recycling. Our Indian women are really great at it. We don't seem to understand. It's nothing high. Very simple techniques to be followed. And then what do you do? Reuse. I remember we used to get a lot of cardboard boxes with pencils and erasers and things for the students. I used to send all those cardboard boxes to the mathematics laboratory. Why do we need to buy equipment? and spend money on that. These could be used for the children to use to measure and know about the different shapes and then measure and find out certain things, angles and all that. So whatever is available, we should be able to reuse it and then reduce whatever we require. We don't need to buy so many things. And I realize now COVID has taught us a lot. Everybody has started realizing I have much more than what I really need. Reduce what you require, take it to the minimum, let it be needs and not wants. So if all these can, and refuse when something is offered which you don't need, I think we can easily refuse. There's nothing like an etiquette to say no, no, I feel bad to say no. I think we should do that. Repair and use it again. And what I remember when we were young, we were seven in the family, six daughters and a son. And you can imagine it was a Herculean task feeding us, bringing us, educating us. And we used to get clothes only twice a year for Diwali and Pongal. And three of us, elder sisters, they'll buy bales of cloth, that's it. And three long frocks would be stitched. And each of those frocks will be below the knee. And then there'll be a big tuck inside. As we grow, they knew we would be growing. The tuck would be removed and we had to use the frock again. Very simple. We had big pavades, skirts, long skirts, they used to call it. And they used to spend a lot of money on the silk skirts. That used to have a tuck inside. I'm sure Yamli will remember or her mother will remember. And whenever we grew, it became short. We just had to take it out and reuse it. So these are little things which need to be incorporated in our lives. It was already part of life in India, but some way use and throw has become our culture. I think that needs to be reduced and that we need to teach our children also. We need to rethink, do we require this? We need to repair things so we can use it again. I was shocked to hear that a person had 7 cell phones. Why does he need so many? Is he trying to show off because the best has come? Then what do you do with the rest? Okay, sustainability depends on how we are going to use the resources, human, natural, and also non-human resources to the maximum. And wisdom is using the minimum resources to get the maximum benefit. I think it is very important for each individual to be trained to know how to help the world sustain the resources it has got, human and non-human. Yes, I think that
I
answers the question.
completely, yes, I completely agree with that. And let's hope that, we all, do our part and we are able to, have the sustainable development. So
Yes.
my next question is for Yamli and you, both of you. Although we have seen substantial progress in education, many countries are far from reach in the education goals. So, how can we make sure that this agenda is taken forward and completed?
Yamli, you'd like to answer? Yes.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Yes.
Um, that's that's actually a very interesting question. That's something that I've been working on for the past couple of months. In India, we as Indians, we're very indigenous that we do find the resources to, make something, and then we're very resourceful in that age. But at the same time, there are countries like from the stories what I've heard from my fellow change makers in Eastern Africa or in Central Africa, where the communication is limited only to radios. So the kind of education that you can even convey, or even in, through COVID times, especially in places like refugee camps, where you're mostly living in brick and mortar houses, which is all very next to each other. So social distancing or a community setup wherein everybody comes in for a like common education system for the particular time of the day, that is not available. So how education can be, effective in a place like refugee camp, as opposed to the same what we have in India right now over here. So in India, what we are focusing on is basically to involve more of families and involve, now that a lot of us do have an access to mobile data and Android phone. So we do involve the parents into this place. So we make a WhatsApp group, we collect data as such that every parent or one parent at least in the household is added, or a guardian is added to the WhatsApp group. The same WhatsApp group that all the children are in this of the class are present, where you're given homework and the day your class starts and the Zoom link is provided. This this luxury is not available for the same ones in these refugee camps. So what we have devised is to make a buddy system. So since refugee camps, these kids are usually do have access to radio, and some of them don't live far much. I mean, they do have an access through a bus or some mode of transportation to one place to another, which is usually in a radius of 5 kilometers. To access them, it's a buddy system. So your pals or friends or who do have an access to a phone, who can access to a class of that day, and they do understand and what's going on in the class, they go back in terms like a homework, they go back to these children, obviously maintaining a social distance and gap, and going through all those procedures. They teach their kids, I mean, they teach their friends and their pals and what they have learned in school trace. So that way, every child is ensured of education of what is being taught that day, and whatever feedback, it's also from the doubts that the child has learned through his own phone and the doubts that he creates, also the doubts that he's the person that he's teaching to. He comes back the next day and we have a follow-up through as to how we're going through with it. So this is one of the ways that we can tackle uh, is basically to communicate as to how we can bridge that gap in resourcefulness that we have. Also, one project that we've recently embarked on is making a digital library that is for children. A lot of them might not have access right now, but they might probably maybe in the process of buying a phone later, or it's all in the process. So for them to catch up on it, we make sure that we do create a digital library of all the videos of the books that they need to learn from, so that as soon as they do come into that space, they can access them and they can catch up to speed on them. So that again, we go through of a follow-up session of to where they are and where do they need help. So usually these children in different countries, most of them are living with foster parents. So that luxury also will have to take in place. So that becomes, we might not be able to depend on parents as much as we can depend on their friends and pals to reach out to them. So always, the importance of human connection, like Kiran was talking about. So this comes very much into play, that we care for each other and we take that forward.
It's been very interesting to listen to the new developments that are happening, and it's wonderful. I mean, let's hope that we are actually able to fulfill all these and achieve all the sustainable development goals by 2030. So, would Ms. Nirmala, would you like to elaborate on the question? Ms. Nirmala, you're muted. Please unmute yourself.
Okay, right. I think Yamini has said it all. Whatever is feasible, she has already done it. She has thought through every little aspect of how to impart this education. But what I really feel, as she has been stating how to impart literacy and numeracy, I also believe that values have to be incorporated. And that's what the Heartfulness Institute is all about. It's going around telling people thinking alone is not enough. You need to feel things from your heart. And to feel things, you need to get connected to your heart. So spirituality is nothing but the art and science of remembrance of who we are. And to understand who we are, we need to get connected to the heart, because the vibrational heart is what we are, who we really are. And the heartfulness relaxation, if it can be taught, because the mental health problems are also cropping up, if they can do the detox techniques which the Heartfulness Institute has for stress, fear, anxiety, and also the relaxation techniques for students right from 5 years onward, which means UKG, and meditation for students of grade 10 and above. I think it'll go a long way in making education what it has to be. Education is to transform human beings to being human, compassionate human beings. And that's what I think finally education is all about. Knowledge is there, but the value system has to be incorporated. And I think it's getting done. Yes.
In fact, yes, I completely agree with you. In fact, we've often heard this, that the main aim of education is to make you a better person more than
Exactly.
anything. So
Very
yes,
true.
we completely agree. So, giving a few responses from our YouTube comments. So we have also received a response from YouTube saying, why do you love children so much? Why does
Okay.
Nirmala ma'am love children so much?
I think the base is they're so innocent. They have no impressions in their mind. Okay, they just speak out and their hearts are open. Whereas as we grow up as adults, so many things cover our heart and then we become closed. Okay, the impressions, the prejudices, the fear, the anxieties, nothing is there in the small children. And I think we need to go back to being childlike, not childish, but we need to go back to be childlike and innocent, live in the present. Forget about the past. Don't worry about the future. Live in the present, and that's a gift God has given us. I'm so happy they took that cue from me. I really love children. That's why I was in the field for 37 years, and I still love being with them. I learn a lot. Thank you all.
It's wonderful. Yes, it's wonderful to listen to your experiences. We have one question from our audience for Dr. Videha. The question is, any encounter of a supernatural experience during your autopsy?
Okay. Well, the person who asked the question is my own brother, Dr. Sivapriyan. He's doing his master's in emergency medicine in a state called Kelantan, Malaysia. Okay, he'll be an emergency physician soon in another 2 years. Well, we respect the body, number one, when you carry out the autopsy. Okay, it's not just an animal, it's a human body. So you really have to respect the body. So far, no, I don't encounter any supernatural things. Okay, either in my autopsy room or do I bring it back to my house. I believe we as the human, okay, is the ghost themselves. You know, you want to do good deeds, you be human. You want to do bad deeds, you be the ghost. Okay. So to answer this question, no, brother, no, I don't see any supernatural things in my autopsy or my autopsy's room. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and it's been a wonderful experience to receive in your inputs, your wonderful inputs, and thank you so much for joining in and sharing your wonderful and insightful experience. Thank you so much. So now we can just have the end mentees. We will be having two mentee questions. You can log on to menti.com and you can enter the code displayed on the screen. The first question we have for you is, what does a healthy lifestyle mean to you? You can log on to menti.com, register the 7-digit code 4661058. So let's wait for a few responses. A happy, carefree life where we live and let live. That's interesting. Staying fit, diseaseless. That would be wonderful. To be alive and strong. So we can just wait for a few minutes and then move on to the next question. Physically and mentally at ease, be self-resilient. Wow. Which helps us to balance all aspects of life. Being well mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. Yes, I'm glad we included the spiritual angle as well. That's something very important. So we can move on to the next question. You can enter the same code and proceed. So, how can we help achieve SDG 3 and SDG 4? again, good health and well-being and quality education. Do your part, however little it may be. Yes, so true. It's completely in tune with Dr. Viveka Priyan, what he exactly said. It all begins with you. So, yes, so true. Staying aware of your surroundings and helping those in need. Yes, that's all. I guess that's all what SDG is all about, right? It's helping everybody get their basic needs. Educate people and equip them with heartful communication. So true. I guess that's very important for the third sustainable development goal. Being mindful of our choices. Yes, that's wonderful. So I guess we can move on now. And we're almost towards the end of our session. And we would like you to just experience a short heartfulness relaxation. So, can we please get the video?
Sit comfortably and close your eyes very slowly and very gently. Let's begin with the toes. Wiggle your toes. Now, feel them relax. Feel healing energy from the earth move up into your feet and ankles. Then up to your knees, relaxing your lower legs. Now feel the healing energy move up your legs, relaxing them. Relax your thighs. Now, deeply relax your hips, stomach, and waist. Relax your back. From the top to the bottom, your entire back is relaxed. Relax your chest and shoulders. Feel your shoulders simply melting away. Relax your upper arms. Relax each muscle in your forearms. Relax your hands right up to your fingertips. Now relax your neck muscles. Move your awareness up to your face. Relax your jaw, mouth, nose, eyes, earlobes, facial muscles, forehead, all the way to the top of your head. Feel that your whole body is completely relaxed. Scan your system from top to toe, and if there's any part of your body that is still tense, painful, or unwell, spend some more time immersing it in the healing energy of the earth. When you are ready, move your attention to your heart. Rest there for a little while. Feel immersed in the love and light in your heart. Remain still and quiet, and slowly become absorbed in yourself. Remain absorbed for as long as you want, until you feel ready to come out.
That was a wonderful relaxation session. We hope you enjoyed this session as much as we did preparing for it. Let's strive to make this world better. Spreading awareness and each doing their share can transform the lives of millions and brighten their future. Observing this as a responsibility can strengthen our objectives, enabling us to do everything we can. With this note, let's end the session. Thank you so much for joining in. We